transition. I am out of control today, and I'm going to show you the new StencilClub offering. So the Stencil Girl artist for the month of September will be Kerr, and I am delighted because I love Kerr. She always brings so much in the way of projects to our club members, and I'm thrilled. So these two stencils are the little baby one and the 6x6, and this is an interesting one because it's got flowers that go both ways, and I was thinking you could make something to be folded with this, or a lot of different things. A lot of potential. I used them here without their stems, and I liked it very much. I also used this little guy. This is a sweetheart of a stencil, and I used it over here in the backgrounds. And what I did when I used it was I wanted this little bit, I'm trying to find a place where I had it, I guess like this, yeah. I used a little bit of it in the background, and then when I picked it up, I kind of blended it out. So you would just get a little peek of a pattern in the background. And I did it in several places, and I really like that. It's a beautiful stencil to do that with. Got a lot of intricate little parts. You know me, I always love the 4x4s. Can't help myself. And then here's the 9x12, and this has got a lot of component parts in it. It's got these diamonds here, which are very cool. And I just did little half diamonds at the top, and then I doodled around them. And these parts here and here are very interesting. They are in my background, and they create a lot of movement and interest within the background of a journal page. I can't wait to see what Kat has done in as far as a project goes, but I'm gonna have to wait because I haven't seen it yet either, so I'm gonna be like you guys, waiting for it. But I think there's so much potential. I mean, my gosh, you're getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different, you know, kind of motifs to use, and that is fun. And so this is a Ray Missigman stencil, and it's a stencil mask, and I really think it's beautiful. And I just made this page that really fell flat for me. It didn't have any focal point, right? Lots of times I do an abstracted page and then I add a focal point, so I added you got this. And so I thought, well, maybe that would do it, but it just wasn't enough, and it still needed something. And this is an old fix-it solution that I use, is a bit of black on the page. And I wanted to talk about that in addition to some other things today. So here's what happened. I haven't been able to really do my journals or my own art for a long time. I've been more focused on some of the management details of StencilGirl. So here's what happened, is I lost my way. I lost my way with my own art. I found that when I sat down to do a journal page on Saturday, I was sitting here with my friend Mary, and I suddenly couldn't make any art that felt like me because I had not been making art regularly. Art, the art muscle, if you will indulge me for a moment here. The art muscle is like a muscle, and if you don't use that muscle, it will atrophy, and you'll get to the point where you don't have any strength and you kind of lose it. You need to use it regularly, even if you just do a little something arty every day. And I made this spread, and I was like, eh. And so then I decided to put these black silhouettes on it because I knew that that would command attention and that it would at least look more like a finished spread, okay? So what I'm going to do today is show you a few things that I think might be helpful for you and give you some ideas of what to do on these pages when maybe you feel a little bit lost, you know. And I am not one that likes to just do a big paint over and start again. I'm also not one that likes to do a big paint over and lose all my initial layers. I believe that every layer lends to the next layer. And I see a lot of people doing this in online demos where they start and then they just go on and on and on, and you don't even see any of the beginning essence of the piece. For me, that's not the way I personally want to work. I believe that the beginning layers contribute to the overall finish of it. I also believe that to cover up everything is kind of a waste of paint in many respects. So I'm going to close this one, and I'm going to show you a few things that you can do. So this is probably an example of where I want my work to be. I would like for my work to be a little bit more soothing. I can always tell when I get stressed because my work gets very busy. But like, I love this, the abstracted pages that I do. So these I pulled out as reminders. And then this is just a hot mess of a page for me. It is not ugly really, it's kind of pretty, I would say. There's flowers, and I certainly used a lot of stencils in the background, in the foreground, and everywhere. However, it doesn't go anywhere. It looks like nice wallpaper to me. So this would be an example of a page where you could add some of those silhouettes and it would like totally pop it out a little bit. This stencil's perhaps too big, I think, but if you added a little window motif, I think I'm gonna try it and see how it looks, and we'll go from there. I was using black gouache, but black gesso is also a great thing to do for this. So I've got my black gesso here, and I've got my sponge. This is a David Daniels stencil, and what happens when you use the black like this is that it gives you an immediate sense of depth, because that's probably what's going on here, is a lack of depth. And so let's just, when you think about this, a place to put a focal point like this, think about the golden mean, or think about the thirds. So imagine that this is divided into thirds and thirds, and then kind of these intersecting points would be a great place to put it. So I'm going to put it up here because that would be one of our intersecting points of the thirds. So we'll just put this down and see how this helps. I have a feeling it's going to help this page immensely. And what I'm going to try to do is pull it over to the side. I don't want to use the whole stencil on this, but I'm going to pull it over to the side like I did there. And so look at that. It immediately gives you this little sense of depth. Now this line coming up here is quite nice. So it was from this part of the stencil. So I'm going to move the stencil and see if I can just carry that line up to the top of the page. Yes. Now for me, that adds some interest here. And I'm going to carry it down too. And there you go. That to me adds something, just that little bit of something that makes that more interesting, right? So here is one way. Black and white is something that always will tend to make your page more interesting. And especially a window or something that gives you a sense of depth. So then I'm thinking, since I have this over here now, what I think I'm going to do is flip to the other side, and I'm going to add a few sections of it over here without the window. I'm going to let the window stand on its own over there. Okay, so there's a little bit, and then I think I'll put some of these down here. Just remember, you know, these stencils are made to be turned every which way. You've got so many options, and there you go. All right, now I'm going to get a clean sponge, and I got a little bit of messy over here. See if I can wipe it away. If I can't wipe it away, which I don't think I can because I think I waited too long, the answer here is to add more of it. Add a little more of it. So here's what I will do. I'm going to just add a little more of it, because that'll cover up those little kind of grungy areas. If you have clear gesso or even like a matte medium or something, you can put a layer of it over top of your underneath if you would like to do that first. And then that would give you some extra time to wipe away if you absolutely, you know, hate where you went with the black. So keep that in mind. Keep it in mind. All right, so there we go. I believe that that enhances the page quite a bit, and it looks a lot more interesting. I really do. I sort of feel like I could put another window up there. I could keep working on it, but the point is I've done something that makes me much more pleased with this, right? Because when I opened it up, I was kind of like, yuck, that doesn't really look like me. It looks like I was just playing, and then I never finished the page. But I like this much better. So there you go. One way to help improve the look is to add that depth. So if you don't like the idea of black, use a deeper part of what's in this. Like for this page, for instance, I could have used a dark navy or a midnight or something, a midnight blue, or I could have gone in the purple direction and used like a like an eggplant. I was thinking of a color that I can't put my hands on right now, but something like a deep eggplant or something like that. So it doesn't always have to be black. I'm mainly talking about a real variation in value. So it really pops a dark. And it can also work if you have a darker page and you can pop a light too. So that's another avenue you could go. All right, this is a very pastel page for me. You know that I don't go pastel that often. I'm usually pretty robust with color, but for some reason I did. I went pastel here, and I was thinking usually I do a couple pages. Yeah, this page is fairly pastel as well. Like if you wanted to expand something like this page, I've done a little bit of it I've added some line work here. Now what I do when I add line work is I use something that's already on the page as my guide, all right? I don't go back in and reinvent the wheel at this point, okay? So like this line I extended right from here. This one I extended from here. This one I extended. Now here's one I can take up. And it's not that it does this huge thing, but it certainly adds a little bit of something to the piece. And it brings the hand back into the work. Because I think what's working here, what's working is the collage components. We have a lot of variation of size, we have a lot of variation of color, and you know, I actually wrote part of a poem over here that I enjoyed. But what we're missing, in my opinion, is more evidence of the hand. And that's what I mean, my hand, like I actually made this. So maybe I should go back in and like circle the dream. Oops, I actually ripped part of it up. Well, that wasn't what I was thinking. You can circle something, you can extend some lines. You could even look at these circular things. You could even do some very light pencil drawing to extend shape within your piece. Okay, another thing, white. So let's say this piece is so pastel, maybe it needs more white instead of black. Use a China marker or something like that. Just pop these whites a little bit. Not a ton, I'm just saying a little bit here and there. Another way to just add a little extra to the page. So think about your mark making tools. I do. I always work a spread. I don't know why. I always just feel like I want to work across the spread. But this one I think is actually a pretty decent page. You could add more to it. You could add some lines. This horizon line here, not really a horizon line because it's still part of the water. But you can always go ahead and do your doodling. Here I did a little bit of writing. We could bring this up. This is something I typically do. I don't know why, but I feel very grounded when I add these lines. You could act like this is a frame. You could draw a little frame around Venice here. Like it's a picture frame. I found this one. This is a Linda Wyatt stencil, and I was thinking this would be a beauty to bring in across the top of a page. Now, in this particular case, I do not think black is the right thing. Okay, that's my black, and this is Night. It's a Dina Wakley. Is it black too? I was thinking it had a little blue in it. I want to add a little blue to some black here. This might be good, marine. Okay, so let's add marine. All right, so I'm mixing a little bit of Night in with this and with that marine color. And I'm making another color that's not quite black. See, it's got this blue edge to it. And I think what will be really pretty is to take this across the top. So this adds quite a different element to a page when you border it up with a really nice ornamental border. And I think it's very pretty, very pretty. So that's another idea. Okay, well, I hope I've given you guys some good ideas for ways to add to pages.